communicating virtually with your clients, connecting in a virtual world. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss trends in virtual client communication, describe best practices in conducting a virtual client meeting, and discuss the opportunities in offering a virtual element to your planning practice. Our industry is changing in respect to client engagement, and with change comes opportunity and challenge. These changes include the way the clients prefer to engage with their planner, how meetings are conducted, and how often they're conducted, the skill sets needed to hold a virtual client meeting, the technology supporting the engagement, how information is safeguarded, and even how the planner's office of tomorrow will be arranged. You have a unique advantage to most other financial planners in the respect that you have actively engaged in distance learning. The best practice techniques and strategies used in distance higher education can be leveraged in working with your clients. In doing so, you can create a unique online experience for them. You will build relationships with your virtual clients and in the same ways that we build community in the virtual classroom. You will hold interactive conversations in your virtual client meetings in the same way that we engage in interactive synchronous chats in the virtual classroom. And your classes can serve as models for ways of effectively delivering content. We will explore these best practices later in the video, but let's begin by looking at trends in client communication. Our industry has struggled with the dilemma of how to serve the middle class client while still remaining profitable. We understand that most high producer planning firms serve as wealthy clients who have the ability to pay for quality planning services. Ongoing fees and commissions from these clients were sufficient to support the planning office's business model. Minimum asset levels are often established. Virtual offices might be an answer to the planner's high fixed costs business model dilemma. Quoting a recent McKinsey Global Institute report about virtual offices, the virtual advisor concept replaces networks of branch offices with a central hub from which advisors engage their clients via telephone, video conferencing, and digital tools. This model is particularly attractive to the mass affluent segment, consumers with assets between $100,000 and $1 million, who have proven to be difficult to service cost effectively. The key driver, however, is not the sustainable business model need of the financial planner, but rather the preference of the clients. Investment News and Cambridge Advisors conducted a technology survey, and the outcomes are reported in their white paper. These outcomes are astounding. Quoting the study, only 4% of advisors currently list video conferencing as one of the communication methods they use most often. But 32% of advisors expect to be relying on video conferencing to communicate regularly with clients in 5 years. Our future clients will expect to engage virtually. The image on this slide is from the Investment News Business Models of the Future survey. Take a moment to look at each of these categories and the expected changes 5 years from now. The trend is clearly delineated. Communicating with clients is moving from traditional space, for example, the telephone, in-person meetings, and mail, to real-time virtual space, including video conferencing, social media, text messaging. Communication with clients is moving from slower, less frequent, longer engagements to faster, more frequent, more concentrated content engagements. This represents a structural change in client servicing. And as previously mentioned, that could be an opportunity for you. You see, the walls between physical and virtual space are slowing down. They're coming down. And that means your client reach, your footprint is expanded. Referrals and introductions can now occur with a prospective client who are thousands of miles away from your physical locale. The information from these two surveys just discussed is substantiated by 3 other studies, which were reported by ThinkAdvisor in the article, The Freewheeling Life of the Virtual Advisor. The Spectrum Group and Millionaire Corner report that 50% of surveyed clients want video chats. The Boston Consulting Group reports that 40 to 60% of high net worth investors want to engage in video chats with their advisors. And Capgemini and RBM Wealth Management Group reports that 57% of affluent people over the age of 40 and 80% under the age of 40 would consider leaving an advisor if video chats and mobile apps were not offered. The writing is on the wall that virtual advisors are here to stay. Interactivity is at the heart of online education, and it's also at the heart of virtual client meetings. Over the next few slides, we'll examine some tips that will help you create and deliver an interactive virtual meeting. These tips will include prepare for the meeting, create a professional virtual setting, design your agenda, establish a professional and competent screen presence, ensure that both you and the client are on camera, deliver an effective presentation, chunk information, offer interesting materials, and keep the client engaged. Let's examine each of these tips in a little more detail. Your virtual office should have a professional setting. What will the client see on the screen? How will you be dressed? What the client sees says a lot about you, your professionalism, and your practice. An effective online meeting starts with preparation. Of course, you need to know your audience, the agenda, and your slide deck. However, you also need to know how to navigate your synchronous technology, including uploading of slides, sharing your desktop to show integrated software, including, for example, your portfolio or mutual fund statements, and troubleshooting video and audio issues. Frame the meeting by sharing the agenda. Then tell your story, which includes a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Anyone living on camera needs to think about screen presence. Does your posture communicate confidence or nervousness? Are your movements natural or jumpy? You want to show your authentic self, and you'll do that by being relaxed and confident from ample practice. You see, practice makes perfect, and that even applies to screen presence. The virtual meeting is your face-to-face meeting. Streaming voice and audio allows you to replicate what happens in the physical meeting room. Make sure that both you and the client are on camera with quality audio. You don't want the technology to be a distraction. Rather, you want it to improve the effectiveness of the meeting. Remember, nonverbal communication is important, and you need to be able to gather as much as possible from what you see on the screen. Effective delivery of your message is the objective. Enunciate clearly. Project your words, energy, and your enthusiasm, and moderate your pace. Think back to what you've learned in this course about effective communication techniques. Reflect on what will help you to deliver an effective online presentation, and then practice that with a friend or colleague. Record your session and constructively review the archive. Strive to become an effective online advisor. Chunking of information will improve client retention. Focusing on key data rather than the broader volume of data will help clients understand. You can achieve this presentation tip by limiting the amount of content on any one slide. Remember to simplify content in order to clarify. You certainly realize that all presentation slides are not created equal. Some are incredibly boring, particularly presentations that consist of slide after slide of bulleted text. Consider incorporating graphics, tables, and images. You are the focus of the presentation, not the slides. Avoid creating slides that require reading because that will draw away the client's attention from what you're saying. The final and perhaps most important tip is to keep the client engaged. You do that by keeping the virtual meeting conversational and collaborative. Encourage an exchange of dialogue. Ask open-ended questions. Ask the client what he or she feels about your recommendation. Make the client feel as though you're sitting together in your physical office. Technological advancements include a variety of things, and they provide the infrastructure for tomorrow's virtual office. And that technology continues to develop at an impressive rate. You will examine front and back office technology in your Concepts for Information Technology course. In taking these online courses within the program, you're experiencing the learning management systems and synchronous technology. All of this knowledge will position you for success in the virtual setting. Important software applications for the virtual advisor include secure cloud-based storage, which is a document vault, secure synchronous platforms for your live chats, software for the integrated front and back office, including portfolio management software, customer relations management software, email archiving software, and document storage software, and social media applications. While there are certainly challenges in communicating with clients online, the opportunities of the virtual office or an element of virtual client engagement within your practice are huge. 3 areas of opportunity immediately come to mind. First, you expand your firm's footprint. Your client base is no longer geographically restricted. This is particularly relevant when you establish a clearly defined niche in which you have positioned yourself as an expert. Your clients' friends and professional contacts do not all live in the same community. Your virtual business model can now reach out to them. Second, the frequency of client touches can be expanded. A meeting doesn't require travel time for you or your client. The frequency of efficient virtual face-to-face chats is only limited by your schedule and that of the client. More frequent contact is a prime factor for strengthening the client-planner relationship. And third, there are clear operational efficiencies. Office space and equipment can be reduced. Advisors and staff can have more flexible work environments, which in turn can create higher employee satisfaction. In this lesson, you learned about trends in virtual client communication, best practices in conducting a virtual client meeting, and the advantages of introducing a virtual element in your planning practice.